Okay. Can anybody hear me? No audio. How about now? I just plugged my microphone in, so it says there's audio coming through. Okay. Hello, welcome. This is my second time streaming, so sorry, I'm a bit still figuring this software out. I actually didn't even have the software the first time I streamed. I was just doing it on the YouTube studio, and it was not great. So I got the OBS, and we're good to go. So today we are talking about a few things. I've got a little note here, and okay, we've got also the chat showing up on screen. So hopefully this will go well. I've got a lot of things that I have on the docket to talk about today. We're obviously not going to get to all this, but the main thing I wanted to, you can see the name of the stream is about OpenAI and how they're basically throwing a bunch of shit at the wall because they have no real plan. So I've got this interview, as you can see on screen. I feel like this chat is a little large, but whatever. I'm not going to be able to adjust things on the fly. This is Sam Altman appearing on A16Z podcast, which is like, I think it's like a Andreessen Horowitz, I believe, is the tech venture capital firm that funds A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz. So this is the Andreessen Horowitz podcast. So it's basically venture capital propaganda. And you'll be able to tell that when I start playing it, because they're both of these interviewers are really just, sucking off Sam Altman here, especially this guy. But I want to start here because it gives a good overview of like what Sam Altman is saying OpenAI is attempting to do. They talk about Sora 2 a lot, so that was like the main thing I wanted to look at. But then we also hear them talk about this hardware device that Johnny Ives created. One sec, I don't have the chat. Okay. So we'll get into that when he talks about it in the interview. So I'm going to start here, and then we can talk about, I don't know if y'all have seen like Andrew Cuomo and Zoran Mamdani, the ongoing race for New York City mayor. Andrew Cuomo has been using a lot of AI in his ad campaigns, and there's some racist bullshit in there. And also, one thing we saw with Sora 2, by the way, Sora 2 is the new video generation tool. Basically, it's like TikTok, but it's all AI generated. It's really a trip. I've got my iPhone mirror set up, so we're gonna take a look at like what that app actually is, because it's a weird time, man, to be alive. And then I've also got some other ideas. So Sam Altman, I don't know if y'all are familiar with this name, Eliezer Yudkowsky. Is anyone familiar with like Less Wrong, the blog, the rationalist blog? Basically, this guy has one of the biggest egos you'll ever see, and that's saying something. Comparing him to Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, he actually Eliezer Yudkowsky was the person who introduced and got Peter Thiel to invest in DeepMind, which is like the Google AI project. I've been reading and researching a lot on AI, and I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit, because the vision that these people are creating and that we all have to contend with is just like a very narrow vision of what is considered utopia for them. I would argue is dystopia for the rest of us. but we can get into that if we have time. And then there's also one of the things I definitely want to do today is try out an AI web browser. I've got, which one? I've got the ChatGPT Atlas on my computer. So we're going to give that a shot. And from all that I've read about it, it doesn't seem to work very well. It's also like a massive security risk for a lot of people. Because basically like people can input nefarious code, and because LLMs are like pattern recognition machines, they basically follow very similar patterns. So you can input like some code that malware code or whatever that gets the AI web browser to click on it. And so we're going to give that a shot. And then the AI bubble, I don't know. I mean, I feel like everybody knows AI is a bubble, but I think the more interesting part of this is like how it is continually being propped up by OpenAI, by NVIDIA, and all of this circular financing where NVIDIA is selling chips to OpenAI, but only on the condition that, OpenAI is buying chips from NVIDIA, but they have to like meet these goals in order to have the money to buy the chips. So we can talk about that. That wasn't a very elegant explanation. Looks like we got 11 people here. Welcome everybody for those of you tuning in. We're talking about OpenAI today. We're talking about slop. We're talking about propaganda and how they all intersect. And then also, if we have time, like surveillance is something that I just wrote about on my Substack, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. That Windblown Curiosities, that's my Substack. So you can go read that piece if you like. But that also actually relates to like this hardware device. So maybe when we talk about that, we can talk about surveillance. But let's just jump in with this video. This is an interview from A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz podcast, which is a venture capital firm. I mentioned that at the top, but since there's some new people. And also, those of you in the chat, if you have any questions for me about, thank you, Valentine, you know what I'm trying to say. Thank you for the comment. But if you have any questions about either the channel or about like the AI industry, I feel like I know too much about this shit. It's really taken a toll on on my mental health. But it also is quite entertaining in a sort of dark way, like I don't know, what do you call that when? Never mind. Okay, let's first, let me know. Make sure you can hear this audio. I believe I've got the
commerce. What do all these bets add up to? What's OpenAI's vision?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should kind
of the speed a little too fast. Oh no, it's normal. So let's hear the question.
You've described in another interview, you described OpenAI as a combination of four companies: consumer technology business, a mega scale infrastructure operation, a research lab, and all the new stuff, including planned hardware devices. From hardware to app integrations, to job marketplace to commerce, what do all these bets add up to? What's OpenAI's vision?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should count it as three, maybe as four for kind of our own version of what traditionally would have been the research lab at this scale, but three core ones. We want to be people's personal AI subscription. I think most people will have one. Some people will have several, and you'll use it in some first-party consumer stuff with us, but you'll also log into a bunch of other services, and you'll use it from dedicated devices at some point. You'll have this AI that gets to know you and be really useful to you, and that's what we want to do. It turns out that to support that, we also have to build out this massive amount of infrastructure. But the goal there, the mission is really like build this AGI and make it very useful to people.
And does the infrastructure,
the infrastructure,
do you think it will end up,
by the way?
Yeah, it's necessary for the main goal. Will it also separately end up being another business, or is it just really going to be in service to the personal AI, or unknown?
You mean like would we sell it to other companies as raw infrastructure?
Yeah, would you sell it to other companies? Yeah, or it's such a massive thing. Would it do something else?
It feels to me like there will emerge some other thing to do like that. But I don't know. We don't have a current
Yeah, no,
plan
what it
there.
is,
It's
yeah.
currently just meant to like support the service we want to deliver and the research.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
There's
And that's
But the
a good
scale
focus,
is sort
too.
of like
Ridiculous.
terrifying enough that you got to be open to doing something else with it.
Yeah, if you're building the biggest data center in the history of
The
humankind.
biggest infrastructure project in the history. Yeah.
Yeah.
there was a great interview you did many years ago in Strictly VC and sort of early OpenAI well before ChatGPT and they're saying, hey, they're asking, what's the business model? And you said, oh, we'll ask the AI. It'll figure it out for us. Everybody laughs, but
Yeah.
There have been multiple times, and there was just another one recently where we have asked a then current model for, what should we do? And it has had an insightful answer we missed. So I think when we say stuff like that, people don't take us seriously or literally.
Yeah.
But maybe the answer is you should take us both.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no,
wait, I want to pause there. So what he's saying is they don't know how they're going to make money off of AI. They are planning on building this AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is, considered to be smarter than humans. It's a marketing buzzword at this point. But basically what he's saying is, well, we don't know how we're going to make money. We don't know what the use case is. But once we have AGI or whatever, super intelligence, we'll ask the AI and it'll tell us what to do. This is also like what they say about climate change. They're not super concerned with why climate change is happening or how to fix it. They're basically just saying we're going to ask the AI once we have AGI, we're going to ask it how to solve climate change, disregarding the fact that we already know how to solve climate change. It just isn't aligned with their interests, which are I don't know why my chat isn't showing up. I'm sure I'm seeing the chat on screen, but not on my end. Let girls use AI. Honestly, I see the vision. I support AI. Interesting. What's the vision? Zanny. I'm not gonna say that username.
Somebody runs an organization. I ask the AI a lot of questions about what I should do. It comes up with some pretty interesting answers.
Sometimes,
no,
no.
it does.
Sometimes.
You have to give it enough context. But
what is the thesis that connects these bets beyond more distribution, more compute? How do we think about it?
I mean, the research enables us to make the great products and the infrastructure enables us to do the research. So it is kind of like a vertical stack of things. Like you can use ChatGPT or some other service to get advice about what you should do running an organization. But for
word smartphone. So there has been this kind of vertical integration.
it's the most greatest.
Yeah, amazing. So,
Hedges against uncertainty.
I think you could say that on the surface, specifically integrated.
yeah, amazingly so. Yeah. Interesting.
Which bets would you say are enablers of AGI versus which are sort of hedges against uncertainty?
I think you could say that on the surface, Sora, for example, does not look like it's AGI relevant, but I would bet that if we can build really great world models, that'll be much more important to AGI than people think. There were a lot of people who thought ChatGPT was not a very AGI relevant thing, and it's been very helpful to us, not only in building better models and understanding how society wants to use this, but also in like bringing society along to actually figure out, man, we got to contend with this thing now. For a long time before ChatGPT, we would talk about AGI and people were like, this is not happening or we don't care. And then all of a sudden they really cared. And I think that, so research benefits aside, I'm a big believer that society and technology have to co-evolve. You can't just drop the thing at the end. It doesn't work that way. It is a sort of ongoing back and forth.
Yeah. Say more about how Sora fits into.
Okay, so I think we got to talk about Sora. He's about to give a very silly answer, but Sora is, in his view, when he's saying Sora is important to AGI because it is like developing real world models, I don't really know what he's getting at. What Sora does is basically asks you to upload your face and your likeness to create like short videos of yourself doing whatever. You can also do it with celebrities. There's been a lot of controversy about like SpongeBob. People were making like SpongeBob cooking meth memes, and that's obviously, you know, the people who have that copyright are going to have an issue with that. But I think like I don't really see where he is okay. I'm gonna read this comment that just come in
To your strategy, because there's
honestly, IDK, I feel like I get billionaires. Like I might have psychosis or whatever, but I use Claude and it's actually like so smart and helps me with research and planning. I'm really interested in AI that half. I don't really know. Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's interesting that you feel like you get billionaires. I don't know that I've ever met somebody that's not a billionaire who understands billionaires. But hey, I'm glad that you're getting something out of it. It's self-learning and actually okay. I'm interested in applications in like medicine and technology. It's able to realistically simulate chemical and biology interactions, making and simulating new technology. Yeah, I mean, it's not learning or thinking. Those are not things that it's doing. It's taking a bunch of data from all over the place, often from things that it's been trained on that it doesn't have permission to be trained on, and then it's yeah. When you say thinking, I'm not really sure what defines thinking for you, but it doesn't exactly think as much as it just kind of takes a hodgepodge of words from the internet and puts together something that probabilistically sounds right and often is not quite right. But yeah, I mean, when you're trained on the entire internet, you're going to have some accurate information in there. Yes, stochastic parrot. That's exactly what it is. But we're gonna move on from that. Okay. Okay. So this next part is going to talk about why Sam Altman thinks giving society a taste of what's coming, is how he puts it, is what we need to do to prepare people for the inevitable machine super intelligence god.
or some hullabaloo on X around, hey, why devote precious GPUs to Sora? But is it a short-term, long-term trade-off, or are we so
well, and then the new one had like a very interesting twist with the social networking. Be very interested in kind of how you're thinking about that, and like, did Meta call you up and get mad, or like, hey, what do you expect the reaction to be?
I think if one company of the two of us feels like more like the other one has gone after them, it wouldn't. They shouldn't be calling us.
Well, I do know the history too. Yeah.
But look, we're not going to first of all, I think it's cool to make great products, and people love the new Sora. And
yeah, people love it.
I also think it is important to give society a taste of what's coming on this coevolution point. So like very soon, the world is going to have to contend with incredible video models that can deepfake anyone or kind of show anything you want. And that will mostly be great. There will be some adjustment that society has to go through. And just like with ChatGPT, we were like, the world kind of needs to understand where this is. I think it's very important the world understands where video is going very quickly, because that's going to be, video has much more like emotional resonance than text. And very soon we're going to be in a world where like this is going to be everywhere. So I think there's something there. As I mentioned, I think this will help our research program and is on the AGI path. But yeah, something like, it can't all be about just making people like ruthlessly efficient and the AI like solving all our problems. There's got to be like some fun and joy and delight along the way. But we won't throw like tons of compute at it.
Okay. Yeah, so he said, I don't know if you heard that there, but he said, we're going to have to contend with deepfakes, a lot of deepfakes that are very realistic, and that's mostly going to be great, because that's where the world is going, essentially. And by the way, it's cute that you think you're going to be a future billionaire. Hopefully you come from big money. So let's look at what what Sam Altman and OpenAI have to say about Sora, and then let's look at what Sora actually is. So we're launching a new app called Sora. It's a combination new model. It's the second version of what already existed. And he said it's going to be creativity, which is a loaded way of framing it as being creative, is about to go through a Cambrian explosion. Cambrian explosion is like when I'm not sure. It's like when humans invented technology. I don't know. Chat, help me out. Along with it, the quality of art and entertainment can drastically increase. And even in the very early days of playing with Sora, it's been striking how many, to many of us, how open the playing field suddenly feels. One thing that OpenAI did with Sora, the first iteration, I suppose, is they made this short film called Critters, which apparently just uses a bunch of Japanese symbols, maybe, I don't know, but Sam sounds like he hasn't thought very much about the societal impact of tech. Yeah, none of them have. I mean, they're not really concerned with any of that. They're concerned with creating their utopia, their glorious transhuman future, which I'm sure this AI booster in the chat is also hoping will come about, where we upload our brains into computers and where you live in these vast utopian simulations. But that's not coming. First of all, it's not possible with the current way that generative AI works. But also it's just like a completely empty vision of what society could be. So yeah, you're totally right. He hasn't thought about the societal impact, and if he has, it hasn't been anything that like the common man would be comfortable with. So this is Critters, which is an AI animated. Well, they call it an AI animated film, which is hilarious because like it says later on, only a couple dozen people are working on it. So it's not like they just prompted a bunch of ChatGPT or Sora prompts with all of these creatures, because like famously, when you generate characters using generative AI, they never come out looking the same way. They always have little differences. So like I read a piece about a children's illustrator who is a lot of her work now is editing AI content, and you know, the people who are implementing these tools, they expect it to be like this super quick thing where they can just have somebody, you know, quickly fix up the little errors in post. But when you generate AI imagery, you're not getting like a nice, you know, Photoshop file which with separate layers. It's all hard coded into the same image. So they're saying, I don't know how much of this is going to be AI generated. I expect very little of it. I think like just the characters will probably like get some animated movement or whatever. But also like this LA Times article, first of all, I don't know if it says it here, but they are trying to get this shown at Cannes Film Festival, which is so funny to me. I mean, if Cannes picks this up, I think there might be a boycott of some sort. But also they're saying, you know, hundreds of people are typically involved with an animated film, and budgets can be as high as 150 million to 200 million, which is like, yeah, for like the big Pixar movies or like the massive, I don't know, but like I think there's a lot of smaller indie, like that movie Flow that came out last year that had a budget of like 3 million. So I don't really buy any of this. But let's look at what this movie looks like. Critters. Gotta make this.
Here we are, planet Earth. It's impossible not to appreciate the sheer grandeur of our world. And yet there remains one forest unexplored by humans. A forest filled with life, with creatures living in the burrows of the ferns, the branches of the trees, by the flowing streams, and the mossy bogs. I'm David Attenborough's neighbor, Dennis, and welcome to...
I don't know what that is. He said, I'm David Attenborough's neighbor, Dennis. Is it just using like an AI generated version of David Attenborough's voice? Because that would be fucked. Also, this comment is funny. If I saw this movie on a plane, I would walk out. Yeah, I mean, like, everybody in the comments is like, who is ever going to see this? They made Slop with $30 million and some dozen of people. And oh wait, he talks about flow. Maybe this is where I saw that. Anyways, like, this is trash. I think we can all recognize that. But yeah, they're going ahead with it, and they want this to be like the next big thing. I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening. But anyways, that was a bit of a tangent. Let's go back to Sora 2. So we feel some trepidation, or where was I? Oh yeah, put yourself or your friends in the video. Oh, they worked hard on character consistency, so I guess that's something. Social media has some good effects on the world and some bad ones. We are aware how addictive this service might be, yet they're not really doing anything about that. It is easy to imagine the degenerate case of AI video generation that ends up with us all being sucked into an RL optimized slop feed. The team has put great care and thought into trying to figure out how to make a delightful product that doesn't fall into this trap, and come up with a number of promising ideas. We will experiment in the early days of the product with different approaches. Okay, so let's take a look at what this product, this groundbreaking Cambrian explosion like creative explosion is going to be. I've got my iPhone mirror come up here.
6, 7.
There's no. Also, like, I mean, maybe this is an issue with my. Why is the video is just not working? But the app is very poorly designed. Like, even when I was using it on my phone, I was getting all these errors. Okay.
Wait, he got passengers?
Okay, I don't know what's going on here.
Yo!
Maybe I can, I've also not really used this. How do you go? Okay. I'm trying to do like what I would normally do on my phone, but I don't know the controls. Okay, I'm force quitting the app. Maybe that'll help. Connect. Okay, we might just have to move on. That's unfortunate. I wanted to try out this pick a mood thing where you describe. It's not going to work. But yeah, I mean, they say they don't want to, they don't want an optimized slop feed, but that's basically what it is. So I'm not really sure what they mean about that. This was a good Atlantic article that kind of talks about the AI generated app that we just looked at. What parts of this did I like? So yeah, I mean, we've all seen, like, over the past several months, they talk about this Donald Trump Truth Social. This was right before or maybe after the No Kings protest. I'm laughing at how ridiculous it is. Anyways, yeah, this is like a big thing that Trump has been doing throughout his, we saw like the images, the AI generated images of doing like these deportations with the woman crying. And then I feel like I try to avoid looking at Trump content as much as I can, but it's hard to miss it sometimes. And I thought it was also funny how Andrew Cuomo, famously the disgraced former governor Andrew Cuomo, posted this ad, AI generated ad, to his social medias, which has now since been deleted, but let's take a look.
Zohran Mamdani's opponents want you to believe he's an inexperienced radical whose policies will make New York City more dangerous. But what do his actual supporters think?
Mamdani isn't crazy.
He's just trying to even the playing field.
Give everyone a fair shot. Sure, he said multiple times we need to defund the police, but that was just a metaphor.
And yes, he did say crime is a social construct, but that was also a metaphor.
I don't think Andrew Cuomo knows what metaphor means.
Main backer, the Democratic Socialists' ideas are common sense, such as
decriminalizing misdemeanors, like shoplifting,
third-degree assault, trespassing, prostitution,
and drunk driving.
With plans to decriminalize all drugs, Mamdani will be a job creator.
Well, that guy can say Mamdani better than actually he didn't say it right, and I just said it too, Mamdani, but he still says it better than
drug dealers.
Instead of helping us homeless get off the streets and into the mental health facilities we need, he wants to give us safe injection sites to do crack and let us sleep in subway carts.
These are actual policies Mamdani and the DSA want to implement on day one.
When a woman's being domestically abused, she finally won't have to deal with some pesky cop to arrest the abuser, but now a social worker to help, kumbaya the situation.
It's also just so bad, like the AI,
Breathe in.
AI they used.
Breathe out.
Mamdani is finally lowering jail sentences. Guilty!
But Mamdani says you're free to go.
Woo-hoo! Who cares if legalizing prostitution statistically leads to an increase for sex trafficking of women and young girls by 70%?
You can't have safety without equality.
For unlawful abiding citizens like us, globalize the intifada.
I'm a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
Yep. I'm a criminal.
For Zohran.
For Zohran Mamdani. For Zohran Mamdani.
I didn't have a real job until I was 30, but sure, give me the keys to the city. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, because Andrew Cuomo famously has had all sorts of real jobs. Yeah, and then he posted another one this morning. We don't have to look at it. I think it was today. Maybe it was earlier, but it was also quite gross. Okay, let's look at what else we got. Did I have anything else? Oh, this was some interesting. So this was about this is like kind of trippy. It's like a reaction to a slop video, a reaction to a slop video that I'm going to react to. But yeah, there was like all of these after Sora went live, there were all of these like really gross and racist videos of mostly black women complaining about like food stamps being cut and not being able to use EBT and just like giving false information. You'll see like they were, well, let's just watch it.
It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids. They cutting off EBT since the shutdown. I can't use EBT in November. I got 7 kids with 7 daddies. Who's supposed to feed them? Them men ain't paying for nothing. They cut my motherfucking food stamps to $85 fucking from $738. How the fuck that's supposed to support a household of 3?
I didn't really notice all the issues with the EBT stuff because I've been too busy working.
I've been too busy working. He's a real
Every time I
man.
go to the grocery store, my card cleared. My debit card, credit card, doesn't matter what card I use. I work 7 days a week, and I've just never even really cared.
Why is it like a flex to be like, I work 7 days a week, and so that's the only way I can pay my groceries?
This is why people don't care about EBT going away. They don't care about it.
I think people need to understand what's going on here. If you are a right-wing creator on this app, your algorithm for the last 2.5 weeks has been nothing but these videos of supposed SNAP recipients freaking out about losing their benefits and saying these genuinely ridiculous things like it's the taxpayer's job to pay for my kid. The reason is these videos are designed and targeted to this specific algorithm because this algorithm, these set of people, have zero media literacy and zero critical thinking skill. Watch this.
Y'all hear me? Because of this government shutdown, they telling me I can't use my EBT in November. I got 7 kids with 7 men. 7! And that's the taxpayer's responsibility, okay? Y'all taxpayers, do you hear me? Since this government shut down, I can't use my EBT in November. I got 7 kids with 7 different men. How am I supposed to feed them?
Yeah, notice how they're all using the same script, and they also will like drastically overstate how much you can get from SNAP benefits. Like there was one that was like, I think it said like $2,500 cut, and it's now being cut to $500, which, you know, $500 is like the maximum pretty much that you can get, and most people are not getting anywhere near that. So there's just like, there's this massive potential for, not even potential, it's being realized for these propaganda campaigns with these like racist ass stereotypes, and it's really quite concerning. I watched this movie late last week, perhaps. Let me pull it up, see if any of y'all have seen it. Don't look at my Letterboxd, it's all very old. What was it? Mountainhead. Has anyone seen this movie? I'm just catching up on the comments. Yeah, very, very dystopian, very dehumanizing. Basically what this movie is about is these are a bunch of tech billionaires who, it's like a satire. It's actually directed by the same person who made Succession. It's not a great movie. I wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it is, I mean, like, I feel like I thought parts of it were funny because like I've been so in this world and listening to these crazy tech CEOs and what they're aiming to do in the future, that like I was like, wow, they really nailed it. They did nail it, certain parts of it. I just didn't think it was like that interesting or funny. Like the story was, there was some funny parts. I particularly liked Jason Schwartzman's character. But basically the plot of the movie is like they're all in this cabin or like a billionaire's mansion essentially in Utah. And this guy, this fella here developed an AI generated video app that's like super popular, but it's also as they're in the cabin, it's being used to generate like really realistic fake videos, and it's essentially sending the entire world into chaos. Basically how the plot unfolds is they eventually decide that they're the only ones, these four guys, or actually the 3 guys, because this guy some other thing, I won't say anything for spoilers. You had no idea who Sam Altman or Peter Thiel were before this movie? Are you talking about Mountainhead? Because I don't think they mention either of them. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you now know who they are. That's unfortunate. I think everybody would be better off just if they didn't know these people existed. But anyways, the video or the movie. The movie unfolds with them all essentially wanting to take over the world because they're going to be the benevolent, tech CEOs who are going to are super qualified, super smart to run the entire world. But that's not that important. After this movie, I'm sorry, I can't read that comment. I need a better background. After this movie, I did some reading. Yeah, makes sense. Where was I? I was going to talk about... something. Let's go to... Should we check out the web browser? You want to see what an AI web browser looks like? I haven't actually used it yet, so I'm trying to think about, like, I would never use this product. I'm going to delete it after this stream, just so we're clear. And I would also never use it in the way that I'm going to demo it for you right now, because I just think that it takes out so much of the important process of learning and, like, doing, well, I'm sure there are some things that can be automated that you wouldn't lose that much on. But, like, yeah, it's not for me, for a variety of reasons, as you all know if you've seen my videos. But I'm like trying to put myself in the headspace of, if I were to use ChatGPT, what would I want, or like a ChatGPT web browser, what would I want it to do for me? So I was like, I'm working on this video. Funny you mentioned, by the way, Peter Thiel, because I'm starting to research a Peter Thiel video, because he's just such a fascinating, disgusting little creature. Very, very slimy, very rat-like. But like, so I haven't really started the research yet. So if I wanted ChatGPT to help me research, I would say, like, look up critical articles of Peter Thiel and combine findings, common threads about his philosophy of the Antichrist and transhumanism. So let's see how this works. Okay, I mean, when I read about this, it was like telling me that it could do these like agentic things, which basically means it looks around the web for you. And I guess that's sort of what this is. But maybe instead of this, because, like, I'm not about to look into. I mean, I know a lot of this stuff, but I don't trust what it's giving me. What I would be more interested in, I read a Wall Street Journal article, which I'll pull up for you here, and it said, I tried an AI web browser and I'm never going back, which this is the only mainstream, well, I haven't looked super hard, but it's the only article I've seen that, like, is positive about all of these browsers, because the agents seem just, like, completely inept and basically useless. Like, and even in this article, I mean, I'm, like, wondering if this woman was, I don't want to drag her unnecessarily, but, like, some tech journalists are just, like, very afraid to be critical about any of these companies. So, like, you'll see in this article, she talks about, like, the ways that she used these tools, and it sounds like really not useful at all, but she's like, I'm never going back. I don't really understand it. Like, for instance, Dia is one browser that powered by a mix of different models and impressed me with its programmable skills. Budget Buddy found cheaper alternatives to an expensive espresso machine, and color analysis helped me pick out a new watch band based on my hair, eye, and skin color. I don't know. I mean, like, is it how much are you really like, how much time are you really saving by like having these tools find cheaper alternatives to expensive espresso machines? Like, do you not want to like look into them yourself and and look at the reviews and such, and then like picking out a new watch band based on my hair, eye, and skin color? I don't know. I feel like that's also just not necessary if you know how colors work. You know, it's not that complicated, like matching colors. I'm not a fashionable guy, and I sort of get it. And then like yeah, they found a alternative for a $190 bowl. Cool. I don't know what to say about that even. Okay, but ChatGPT Atlas, let's see what it says about this. AI browsers with agents can handle general chatbot stuff and go a step further, tackling complex requests in the background, but at first it's not hard to watch them work. Okay, so she looked up okay, so I guess like one thing, I didn't want to give this browser access to any of my information for obvious reasons. But like she has her whole calendar in here, and she had the chatbot search and find the best options to based on her schedule and all that stuff. But I'm trying to look at this. The whole process took 16 minutes, and she's like, yeah, maybe it's slow, but I can let it do its thing in other tabs while I do other things. And it's like, okay. Also, the privacy protection settings is hilarious. A block list for sites that the agent can't go to, and toggle the URL to prevent ChatGPT from seeing the page. So that's essentially like you have to know which sites you don't want the agent to go to, which is essentially useless if it's going to a site that you've never heard of. And this is where I'm going to minimize this. This is where it gets into all of the security concerns. So I pulled up a few articles here. This one was kind of funny from MIT Technology Review. I don't know what it's for either. It comes with ChatGPT built in, along with an agent that you can browse, get direct answers, and have automated tasks. So they threw some weird agentic tasks, and first impression is it's fine. But it's pretty pointless, and I would agree with that. It can browse Amazon for you, but like I haven't used these agentic tools, so like I'm just operating off secondhand what I've heard. But I've heard that they're like very bad at actually just doing anything. And then like when you weigh this with the cybersecurity issues, in my opinion, you basically have to be. You have to not be right in the head to be using these AI web browsers, because it's very easy to get a pattern recognition machine to click on things that give you a virus or give you some malware onto your computer. So these are like some of the things that OpenAI is presenting. I went through a few of them. The film, Critters, Sora, and the AI web browsers, and these are the big discovery. These are the things that are supposed to transform us and move us closer to this utopian AGI vision. And I just don't see like I haven't seen any real, innovation is kind of a tricky word, and when you're talking about Silicon Valley. I haven't seen anything like groundbreaking. Not that ChatGPT's launch was like that crazy, but it did take the world by storm, certainly. I haven't really seen since then anything to write home about, and that's because these OpenAI's entire strategy was to get as much money as possible so they could scale and use as much compute and energy intensive resources as they could in order to develop better models. And it worked, like at a certain point when you're throwing billions of dollars at training these models, it's gonna improve. But we're reaching a point where there's literally there's not enough energy, there's not enough data centers, and that's why they're throwing all this money at these crazy projects. Like here, I don't know if y'all have seen this chart, but this is what the AI bubble looks like. So NVIDIA is obviously making a killing because NVIDIA, if you don't know, is the one who manufactures the chips. They have been creating graphics chips for a long time. They're essentially the only, there's AMD, but like that they're kind of a secondary player. NVIDIA is really the main developer. They have a huge lead in these GPU chips, which is what is used to power AI. And you can see there's like just all of this circular investment. It doesn't really explain, like this graphic doesn't really explain the extent to which all of these companies are invested in each other, or it doesn't give as many details. Like you can see, so the blue is services. So OpenAI is purchasing services, $300 billion in cloud infrastructure. So those are the data centers. Oracle and CoreWeave are the big ones developing the data centers. And then NVIDIA is just like in bed with all of them. But, NVIDIA agrees to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI. That is conditional upon OpenAI purchasing a certain number of chips from NVIDIA. So it's essentially a discount because OpenAI has to purchase some absurd number of chips from NVIDIA, and as such, NVIDIA can keep the price artificially inflated, expanding the bubble and kind of kicking the can down the road, because they're like, oh, well, look at all of these purchases. Oh, look at all these people purchasing our chips. But yeah, as you can see, it's a big hodgepodge of all different types of companies. AMD is also a chip provider. XAI is famously doing the Colossus data center that's like destroying the Memphis air quality and breaking regulations all over the place. So it's really something. But let's go back to this Sam Altman video, because there were some other things that I wanted to talk about. Let me just look at my notes. Oh yeah, I mean, he basically, so we can talk about the always on hardware device that they want to develop. Let me just pull it up.
In case the models are already very good. But of course there's better interfaces to have. Actually, it's another thing that I think is cool about Sora. Like, you can imagine a world where the interface is just constantly real-time rendered video.
Yeah.
And what that would enable.
I'm just looking at the comments here. Browser that I use is Brave, which, is a bit better for privacy, although it is still built on Chromium. So I've heard like Firefox is probably a better way to go. I feel like Teal is on drugs. There's no way anyone sober could be that grandiose. Yeah, dude. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that guy. Also, like, well, he's super into blood transfusions, so maybe that's something that he might be experimenting with. But yeah, like the sweatiness and the constant, just like his skin is looking all weird. I feel like he's got to be taking some kind of drugs. I'm with you. I've worked with LLMs, and it's always best to cross-reference, because not everything is accurate most of the time. Yes, definitely. But the problem is people don't do that. That's the big issue right now with Google. Like Google Zero. I don't know if any of you have heard the term Google Zero, but it's essentially a disaster for journalism, because the AIs, and it's not just Google, it's obviously all of the tools, but the AIs, you ask it a question that you would normally ask Google. What year did Kevin Durant win the NBA championship. I don't know, but maybe in some instance you'd go and find an article about Kevin Durant and the publisher would get the ad revenue from that. They've been kind of moving away from that for a while, but like but in the past they have at least used like actual sources. Like they've included the summary, but it was linked to an actual source. Now it's just like you Google that and it gives you the answer, and yeah, maybe you could find the source, but like the majority of people aren't doing that. So it's really like, and then you get to the point where, okay, you're polluting the internet with all of this AI slop essentially, and you get to the point where, well, you're going to have to train your models in the future. They're going to have to incorporate new information. So they're going to find other AI generated stuff that is maybe incorrect, and it's going to produce this sort of cumulative degrading of the internet. So yeah, something needs to be done about it. I guess it just saves time. I don't know if you're referring to the browser, but like, I don't know. I feel like I don't really see it as much of a time saver. I'm sure there are use cases for ChatGPT that you could save a little bit of time. I know that like some people do this. I think it's way over exaggerated. And like, also you got to think about the time that it adds. If you are using AI, and this is something that came up in Brian Merchant's writing that I referenced in my last video, I believe, which I actually interviewed him. You can see it on Patreon. Shameless plug in the that's in the description. But yeah, like he has a series called AI Killed My Job, and it's like a little bit tongue in cheek because it's not necessarily AI killing the job. It's the managers and the executives who want to improve their bottom line. But one of the things that was brought up in that time and again, he interviewed a ton of different people, and it's like they are spending more time cleaning up the slop that AI shits out, and less, and they're getting paid less to do it. So, you know, it's it's not exactly a net positive, I would say, for. I actually haven't read this article. I just saw it from 404 Media, but AI work slop is killing productivity and making workers miserable. So yeah, that kind of this is kind of just what I was saying. AI work is less creative, less capable, and less reliable. But the executives and the bosses depend on it being as good of quality, and so if you're tasked with like cleaning up. Damn, this is for paid members only. Maybe we can get a little taste of it from what's before the paywall. A joint study by Stanford University researchers and workplace performance consulting firm published in Harvard Business Review details the plight that workers who have to fix their colleagues. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. AI-generated work slop. I like that term. Work content that masquerades as good work but lacks the substance to meaningfully advance a given task. The research, based on a survey of 1,100 workers, is the latest analysis to suggest the injection of AI tools into the workplace has not resulted in some magic productivity boom, and instead has just increased the time that workers say they spend fixing low-quality AI-generated work. Yeah, this is also this was confirmed essentially by MIT. Technology Review. They did a study that's found 95% of companies that they studied or surveyed saw no discernible gain from implementing generative AI. So at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, like, if this is the best the technology is going to be, which I don't think ChatGPT is getting much better. I'll just be real. Maybe the paper the article is referring to is available online. Yeah, I think Harvard Business Review might also be paywalled. Yeah, or you just have to create an account. Okay, I don't want to do this on screen because, okay, maybe I can hide. I'm just going to pull this into a different tab or a different window so I can see if I can get access to this. Let me just make sure. Okay, I'm not going to be able to get this, but I guess you can look up this article on your own. Wait, I got them confused. OMG, he sounds ridiculous. Who are you talking about? He doesn't sound like it. He needs to increase his dose. I think you're talking about Peter Thiel. I don't know who you got him confused with, but anyways, let's go back to this video because there was something in here. I keep getting sidetracked. Sorry, but you know, we're just here hanging out. Oh, so let's talk about the hardware. I think this is what he's about.
And that's pretty cool. You can imagine new kinds of hardware devices that are sort of always ambiently aware of what's going on, and rather than your phone like blast you with text message notifications at whenever it wants, like it really understands your context and when to show you what. And there's a long way to go on all that stuff.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. He's just smitten. So he's talking about, oh God. These are like the creep. So there's a big push to get wearable technology. I mean, there has been for a while with smartwatches and Fitbits and all that stuff, but they are now really pushing for more and more to normalize this like constant surveillance and constant always on devices, which is very unsettling and disturbing to me. I wrote about this on my Substack, which maybe we'll take a look at. Let's see, what was it? So yeah, this is talking about the hardware device that they're developing. The goal per reporting is to make a palm-sized device with a digital display that constantly monitors its surroundings for audio and visual cues, responding to user requests where appropriate. So it's basically like, I've seen mock-ups. I don't know if this is what it's going to be, like that it's like a necklace, kind of like the Friend thing. Did you guys see this? I saw some mock-ups that looked, like a necklace essentially that you wear that's always on and always observing, and is this particular one is just like super creepy. I don't know what OpenAI's is going to look like if they ever figure it out. So they got 6.5 billion. So Johnny Ive, this is the guy the Apple designer who designed the iPhone, designed the MacBook Air, I think maybe the iPad, big name in Silicon Valley, good reputation. So his startup got $6.5 billion from OpenAI to develop this hardware device. It's not really clear what it's going to look like, but yeah, it's probably going to not have a screen, so it's going to have a camera, a microphone, and you're going to interact with it as you would like speaking to an AI device. I have to do laundry. All right, thanks for stopping in. Hopefully you change your mind about billionaires. Okay, but yeah, so instead of triggered by Apple's Hey Siri, the device will be always on, constantly gathering data so it can build its memory, something that other wearable AI tech has relied on. This is essentially what I think like Sora and the web browser and ChatGPT as a whole is trying to normalize, is these like systems or platforms or devices or whatever that are always observing you and collecting data on you. I mean, it's already been normalized to a large degree by Google and by just like surveillance capitalism. But I think like they want it to just be this constant thing. And I think that is very dangerous I'll show you a little bit of what I wrote on my Substack. So I said when the AI bubble pops, what happens with the data centers? And I claimed that the most likely use case is probably going to be mass surveillance in military tech. That's what we have seen in Palestine. Israel had to expand its use of data centers to basically store all of the data they were gathering and power their AI facial recognition and their AI, all of their AI tools like this Blue Wolf. Really, really nasty stuff. You can read the whole piece if you want. Also, this documentary is quite good, The Palestine Laboratory. It's by Al Jazeera, but we're not going to watch that. It's too long. So what I wanted to get into here was this idea of luxury surveillance. So luxury surveillance was a concept by this guy, Chris Gilliard, who studies digital privacy and surveillance as it intersects with race and class. So my claim in this piece is that the data center build out obviously is a disaster for the environment, for electric bills, water rights, indigenous peoples, oppressed communities. Hopefully you all know this. It is also the backbone for a new age of surveillance capitalism. And if you don't believe me, let's take it from Larry Ellison.
It's always on. You don't turn it on and off. The cameras are simply, normal body camera costs, I don't know, $7,000. Our body cameras are simply lenses, two lenses attached to your vest, attached to the smartphone that you're wearing. And we actually...
He's talking about like police. They're selling these body cams to police, and what his vision is they're going to be always on, always observing, even if you turn them off, which he's about to see.
The video that the police officer is, by the way, and the camera's always on. You don't turn it on and off. And by the way, the way you turn it on, you can't turn it on. I'm going to the bathroom. Oracle, I need 2 minutes to take a bathroom break, and we'll turn.
How dystopian is it to be referencing your body cam and saying you're going to speak to it with the company name? Hey, Oracle.
Turn it off. The truth is, we don't really turn it off. What we do is we record it so no one can see it, but no one can get into that recording without a court order. So you get the privacy you requested.
Nope, you don't.
A court order, if you get a court order, we will, judge, can order, I want to look at that, this so-called bathroom break. If there's something comes up, and plus I'm going to lunch with my friends. Oracle, I need an hour for privacy with lunch with my friends. God bless. We won't listen in unless there's a court order. But it's interesting. But we transmit the video back to headquarters. So headquarters and AI is constantly monitoring the video. Remember this terrible case in Memphis where the 5 police officers basically beat to death another citizen in Memphis? Well, that can't happen because it would be on TV at headquarters. Everyone would see it. Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras. It's AI that's looking at the camera. No. You can't do this. It would be.
Okay, yeah. So I think you get the idea. He's suggesting what Israel essentially has been doing with the Palestinian surveillance, which is basically removing the human from every step of the process of surveillance. And then we see, obviously, the potential for that to be integrated into weapons technology. This is something Anduril is aggressively pursuing. Another fucking insane tech bro, Palmer Luckey. You may have seen him in one of my videos before, but he's the CEO of Anduril, and he has he's got a bit of an obsession with killer robots, and he wants to develop them so that they're fully autonomous. They don't require right now, I don't actually know this. I don't know this for a fact, but I think at least most of the drones that we use to blow up whoever is claimed by the U.S. state to be an enemy, those a lot of the time are piloted by like real people. And I mean, it's already like removing the human to an extent, because like you're basically controlling it with like an Xbox controller or a joystick or whatever. So like you're already removed from the process of actually pulling a trigger and killing somebody. But now they want to develop fully autonomous killer robots that don't need any human interference or even like a stamp of approval. That's something that Israel did in its genocide of the Palestinian people. They did require like a rubber stamp essentially, but they had this AI-powered system that was selecting drone targets based on very generous parameters. I think they accepted, actually I have it up further in the article, for a junior Hamas militant, which is literally just like somebody who works at the Hamas office and gets people coffee or whatever. I don't know. A junior Hamas militant, they accept 15 to 20 civilian deaths for that as collateral damage. A senior Hamas militant, they accept 100 to 300. And the parameters don't all, I mean, like there's really no way to know for sure if these people were even in Hamas, if they were militants, if they were part of the political wing, or the military wing. But it doesn't matter, because obviously it wasn't about wiping out Hamas. It was about exterminating the Palestinian people. And they even admitted there was a 10% error rate for this technology, and that was also deemed acceptable as collateral damage, which, like, I don't even trust the 10% error rate, but like if that's what you're telling the press, that there is a 10% acceptable error rate, yeah, they were targeting children, they were targeting hospitals, they were targeting terrible stuff. But like this is, I mean, we got to like keep an eye on this, because this is where this technology is going. The United States has long been using Israeli tech to secure its border with Mexico. They use Elbit-designed smart fences, surveillance towers. That's essentially what that documentary is about, is how Israel is exporting its model for keeping unwanted populations out to the rest of the world through refugee camps, prisons, U.S.-Mexico border, as I said. Anyways, but basically what my point is in this piece, and by the way, this is going to be essentially part one of my upcoming video essay, so you'll see a more polished version pretty soon. But like what Chris Gilliard is saying with his concept of luxury surveillance is by accepting these wearables, these smartwatches, the Ring doorbells, which Ring is collaborating with ICE, by the way. I don't know if you know that. So if you have a Ring doorbell, get that shit sorted. This is essentially creating a permission structure for these devices and greater levels of surveillance to go out into society at a much larger scale. And that's exactly what I think OpenAI wants to do with its hardware device. I think really, like, I mean, if you're thinking about where OpenAI stands as a company, they're obviously like pretty solidly fucked at this point with how much money they need to make in the upcoming years. I think Ed Zitron said they needed $1 trillion in the next 5 years just to cover their costs of staying afloat. Not even to like develop. This was like to pay back essentially their lenders. So it's not going to go well for them. But like, I think their end game is surveillance and military contracts, because that is a reliable source of money. And if they can get these AI tools and they can figure out how to make them, how to not spend too much money on them for all of us, that is a wealth of data that is very valuable, that a lot of people would pay for. So an example that Chris gives is the smartwatch, which is essentially, he compares it to an ankle monitor. So like an ankle monitor is forced upon a formerly incarcerated person as a condition for their release. It's much different than a smartwatch in the purpose, because a smartwatch, you are voluntarily surrendering this data because you can supposedly get some benefits from the smartwatch in terms of, like, I don't know, tracking your workouts or whatever. But they do collect a shit ton of data, and like they say, they have certain privacy rules. I think some are better than others. I think Garmin has the best one, but you can't really you basically can't fully trust that the data is always going to remain under your control. It's essentially, when you sign the privacy policy for the vast majority of these devices, you're signing away your right to that data for the company to do with as they please. And even if they're not right now using it for nefarious purposes, that doesn't mean that in an increasingly fascist techno dystopian future that this data wouldn't be used against you and against especially marginalized communities. So like understanding smartwatches and Ring doorbells as essentially part of the same surveillance network that is more impossible to opt out of by the day. I think that really puts in perspective, like, at least for me, why it's such a dangerous thing to accept from Apple, from OpenAI, from all of these companies that want to sell you these products. So anyways, I know some light commentary here. What else do we got? How long have I been going? I don't even know. It's 6:20. Okay, I'll do one more little segment, and then I'll call it. I'll give you also a little preview of what's next for the channel. The Neo robot. This is I don't know if y'all have seen this. This was posted by the Wall Street Journal 6 days ago. This is like a robot that a house servant, essentially, a house servant robot that you can buy for $20,000. You still also have to pay $500 a month for the subscription. I think it's $500. But the important thing about this product is that it's not autonomous, actually. It has to be remote controlled by somebody with a VR headset.
The robot strings. If I throw up, will the robot throw up? A company representative may...
And like, we don't need to watch this whole video, but like you can see, I'm going to mute it just so I can talk about it. He's loading a dishwasher. It takes him like 5 minutes to load 3 items. It's a very silly technology, but it's also like, it's the same thing with the smart city vision, where they want everything to be autonomous, but really, like, it's all human labor behind it. The self-driving cars, for instance, are usually controlled like by a person. Same with this robot. They say that like you're essentially it's putting it into the house is giving the opportunity for it to gather training data and eventually do these things autonomously. I don't know if I really buy that, because that's like what they've been saying with any AI product for a long time. They use Face ID to keep scans of immigrants' faces in the UK. Yeah, I know. They are also doing that in the US. They are using this app. I forget what it's called, but ICE is using this app to identify people using facial recognition technology, which is, by the way, notoriously inaccurate, especially with like black and brown people. So, I mean, all of this, I think, contributes to this like white supremacist technological vision. I mean, you see it with the way you see it with just the people that are presenting these technologies are all white men, for the vast majority of them, but using them to surveil and use the technology against marginalized communities. It's all gross, but that's the world we live in, and that's just why I'm like, any use of AI for me, I'm just like, I don't want to be contributing to this, but I do understand some people get something out about it. I think that's gonna be enough for this live stream. A little preview about what's next for the channel. Next video is called "Should We Destroy the Machines?" which is a good question to be asking. It's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek question, because it's not really the machine. That's kind of the point of the video, is it's not the machines, but the people that are developing the machines. But yeah, I mean, I think that's like, I've been, as you know, quite interested in the technology space for a while, for the last few videos, and I probably will be for the foreseeable future, because I think it's like serves as a microcosm of our society. And I think there are things, I mean, there's so much happening right now that it's hard to know like what to devote your time and energy to. But I do think like it touches all of the same issues as like what we're seeing with immigration, what we're seeing in Israel and Palestine, and across the board. It's technology. The Silicon Valley model of technology is interconnected with all of that. So that's why I've been spending a lot of time on it. I do, before I wrap up, I would like to know, since some of you are still here, thanks for sticking around, if there's anything you would like to see in a live stream in the future. As you may know, this is only my second live stream, so still kind of getting my feet wet. And I hope to have a little bit more structure going forward. What I'm definitely going to do towards the end of the year, some like year-end wrap-ups in lieu of, I did a video last year of like an awards show. I think I'll probably separate them out into the movies that I watched and the books that I read, and maybe some other stuff. And then I'm also planning on doing one where we talk about who was the worst tech bro of 2025. So that should be fun. There's a lot of great contenders. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Eliezer Yudkowsky, never get his name right, Andreessen. They're so powerful and dangerous that it feels like an appropriate thing to. I feel like that's kind of a common thread of 2025 is the tech oligarchy, and we saw them basically go fully mask off in favor of fascism in the most recent election, and I think that's going to continue. But I do think there's opportunity for an alternative vision of technology, because I think people generally are fed up with these like handful of ultra wealthy man children controlling so much of what technology can be for us, when it should really be a human centric project. So Thank you for the person who said great channel. I don't know how to say your username. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. The next video essay should be coming soon. Oh, also one thing before I wrap up. My next video or my next live stream is actually going to be on Wednesday. Right? Yeah, Wednesday. So that's going to be at 4:30 p.m. Central. I'm going to be talking with Emil Torres, who is the co-author of a paper about the TESCREAL bundle of philosophies or ideologies or whatever, which is transhumanism, extropianism, singularitarianism, cosmism, rationalism, effective altruism, and long-termism. It's actually, I think, going to be a great conversation, and that's another video that I'm working on in the future. And I've been listening to his podcast Dystopia Now for some time, and it's an excellent podcast. I would recommend it. It really, I think, like understanding this concept of TESCREAL, this bundle as they call it, really puts in perspective, like, or kind of helps you realize the underlying themes behind this tech fascist movement. So that will be coming up. That the interview will be on the 5th, as you see, at 4:30, and then the video will be sometime after that. And then I'm working on one about Peter Thiel, as I mentioned. That will be something. Okay, so I am pretty pooped. I'm gonna go get some water and some food. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wherever you are in the world.